So last time we talked about, right, kind of learning when we respond and when we react, and I'm hoping that, I know I went through this a bit with my girls even, probably 20 times every day you make the choice, if not far more, to react or to respond, right? Anyone notice that throughout their day, even in like little tiny ways?
When I'm trying to maintain my peace, which is a part of my I am, right? I'm continually trying to work on that every day because there's always something that's ready to make me pop off, right? I like to use hundreds of words, right? So anytime this week that you caught yourself, right, and you decided not to, right, somewhere inside your mind, it could be your I am is starting to sink in. And you're not even cognitively aware of it, right? The more you start thinking about who you are and how you want to represent yourself, how you speak, the words that come out of your mouth, right? The things that you do that people can see or not see, those are the things that we want to be aware of, okay? And that's what your I am statement is all about. Everybody wrote their I am statement last week, and let me tell you what, I went through the whole workshop, Melanie, and the second time I heard, now we let you guys say it twice last week, and then I got to hear it 2 more times. I was blown away. I was like,
Nice.
yeah, there was point on it. So what we want to do tonight is we want to take these tools. So let's go ahead and hit the slide. Oh, we got a new slide? Oh, we got a new computer girl. Nice. I like it.
How many?
Okay. You know the questionnaires you guys started with? Okay. In your questionnaires, from what we've started to take a little bit of a tally, you guys, all the answers to your questions were related to, a majority were related to relationship with others. Things that you're dealing with in your life had to do with relationship with others, okay? By a nice majority. So what we want to do, and this is kind of where we've been leading, in the original academy, the first presentation academy, the third workshop, which is kind of 6 for us, is relationship with others, okay? So now what we want to do tonight is we want to start taking, go ahead and flip to the next slide. We want to start taking the tools that we've learned so far, okay? And we're going to start practicing them. We're going to go over these, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff there. These are some of the tools that we've given you so far to help you with understanding yourself. And now we're going to start working on how to use these things to help others, okay? So I'll go over these just real quick as a reminder. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to do skits, okay? And we're going to have you guys in the audience look at different things that we've learned and see how we are. We're going to go through these things and we'll start practicing to see how we can use these in life scenarios, right? If you guys have a scenario that you're like, hey, but what about if this happens? Then we'll work on those things, okay? So it might not make a lot of sense at first, but as we go through the exercise tonight, we want you to be able to learn these tools that we've given you and how to start applying them to real life situations, okay? So, Melanie, you want to go over these tools with them real quick? So she's just going to give you a brief reminder of what they are, and then we'll start teaching you how to apply them. I think most of you are going to start just naturally getting it, okay? And you'll probably be teaching us how to apply it.
Right.
Go ahead.
And you'll see how the things that you did in your work pages will fit really well too. Okay, so the first one we did was your color, right? What motivates you in life, kind of where you come from. Always will make a difference in your decisions. The next one we did was pain cycle. So how does, whenever you have a painful feeling or thought, where do you go with it? Do you react to it? Just kind of knee-jerk reaction, or do you stop, you think, you respond to it? Sure.
So with colors, as we go through tonight, make sure you're kind of thinking of what your strengths are with your color and what your limitations are. As you look at a skit, go, okay, if that were me, how would I relate because I'm white, okay, or because I'm red, or because I'm blue, right, or because I'm yellow. So try to think about, okay, and then what could this other person be? What color could they be? And how does that affect them? Because you know your limitations, your colors, they might have limitations too, right? And then when we're in the pain cycle, this one here is one that's going to actually come into play a lot in your life. Somebody needs to be frustrated, okay? They come home from work and they're just frustrated. They had a bad day and they start spouting off at you and you're thinking it's about you and really it's just they had an event that day in their life they're in pain because they're frustrated. Frustration's a pain, right? And so now they're reacting by maybe they don't want to talk to you. And now you're all offended and they just don't want to be around any people right now. They're in the beginning of a pain cycle. So that's something to look toward in these skits and say, oh, is that person in their pain cycle? Or is that person just naturally a blue and they're ultra sensitive? Make sense? We're going to start teaching. And once you work on these things, we're hoping that it's really going to help you have more awareness, cognitive awareness, when you're in situations in your life to be able to see these things in other people, and you're going to be able to respond instead of react better and better and better. Does that make sense in our lives? Okay. All right. What's the next one, Melanie?
We did I am next, so that's your I am statements that you made, being true to yourself. We discussed with it being real or being right, staying true to yourself instead of being right in a situation.
Does anybody remember what that means? Real, being real or right, as far as your I am statement is concerned? How to apply that a little bit? Everybody's getting warmed up tonight. Anybody give me an example of your I am statement when it could be more important to be real than right? Like, if I'm going to be a peacemaker, right, or if I'm trying to help somebody, exhort them, and they're not ready to listen, and I push it on them, okay, I might be right by what I'm saying to help them. Me and Victoria talked about this, a couple weeks ago, right? But it's not the right time, okay? And so if I'm trying to help somebody when they're ready, it's more important for me to be real, my real I am, who I said I want to be, than to be right. In that moment, I might know that what I'm saying is really going to help them. But it's more important for me to be real and say, hey, wait a minute, I said I was only going to do it if they asked me. So now my real is more important than being right in the moment.
Blinking your own eye is going to come in a lot today. This is really important in your relationship with others, but was just think about what you're doing in a situation, how you could be reacting to that situation or treating it differently that could actually help the situation, how to look at yourself first and what you're doing that could cause the situation to go the way it's going.
Anybody need an example for that one? Everybody kind of got it? Understand what it's about? Okay, good.
Okay, and with that we did the E plus R equals O. We kind of might guess to remember it as letters, but we did event, so whatever happens in your life, right? Plus your reaction, however you choose to respond to it, react to it, whatever, is going to be the outcome, not just the event, right?
And
So
remember,
always
we don't want to
respond
react.
to it, right?
We will react, but when we do react, we've got to figure out how we should have responded, right? And our response points toward our I am, who we are, right? If our response doesn't reflect our I am, who we feel that we are, I'm a trusting person, I'm a caring person. Am I being trusting right now in this response, okay? So these things will all hopefully start gelling together. And these are what we call, when we say we're giving you tools to be able to use in your life to help you negotiate yourself, understand yourself, and have a better relationship with others. These are what we're saying when we're saying tools. Does that make sense? All right?
I'm actually going to ask, because I know you already said you would you be willing to share with me the one that you wrote down for your work page?
Nice.
Nice.
This was amazing to me. I had never thought about this way.
So the described situation you found yourself in over the past week where you responded is, one of my friends said that they couldn't talk to me as well because I was me. I responded like it was a joke, not and for how did that support your movie I am, not being so sensitive about what people think of me. And for how it really helped me was that maybe I did something that made me feel that way.
Nice. So the situation that you were in, instead of, how would you think you would have responded instead of the way you did respond? How could you have responded? Or reacted? Like say, if you would have reacted in a bad way, what would that have looked like?
Probably would have brought me down a little bit.
Okay? Would you said anything back to them? Like, would you made a comment to them, or were you just gone quiet?
Probably go quiet.
Right. So that's a lot of things that I never realized is that sometimes when people are going quiet, it doesn't mean that they're not feeling anything. They actually could be feeling a lot. They could be upset with you. Right?
Yeah, I so much from her thing, because I was thinking, you know, if I pass something off as a joke, it's because I'm embarrassed about it, and I'm trying to make light of it. And I would typically think of that as a reaction. But when she was sharing that with me, I'm like, wow, that's interesting. For her, it really was a response, because she was saying, okay, I do feel things too deeply, and I need to not be so sensitive to people all the time. So instead, I'm going to just, in my own heart, even make this a little bit lighter so I don't take it so personally. And I'm like, that's great, because for her, she did live up to her I am statement in actually making light of it, and it was a response.
So you just kind of turned it into a joke, right? Kind of felt like that.
Yeah, kind of made it feel like, kind of thought of it as a joke.
Right, instead of taking it personally.
Okay, so just in this one little example alone, we see her color in there, right? Shutting down, she said, would have been her reaction. Her pain cycle, that's part of her pain cycle, is shutting down. She decided to be true to herself, right, in her I am statement when she said, you know, okay, I usually take things too personally, so this time I'm going to make lighter of it. She decided to be real and stick to her I am statement. I don't know if you guys heard the last part, but she said, what, in the end, like, how could you use humility for this? She said,
Maybe I did something to.
yeah, that maybe I've done something to cause them to think this way about me.
Okay, so we're gonna run a skit, and we're gonna practice, having you guys, especially Roddy, is gonna be the one that we feel is gonna be able to help on this first skit. You gotta help us figure this out, Roddy. What are we doing wrong? What things can we do?
Why can't he do it? Why does he gotta judge? I don't like that.
Huh?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
Everybody needs to know. Yeah, so help them out, show them
Yes.
which things they could be using, which ones they need to be using to fix it, whatever you can point out, we'll leave those up there to help.
I thought there was a slide that has the questions on the bottom. Oh, our scenario, our skit, has, we weren't able to edit that on there.
Right.
So I'll read the questions when we're done. Okay.
Okay, come on, Jim.
Give me my script one more time. Like, I had 2 incidents today.
Okay.
One of them was when there was 4 grown men all trying to take chief position with no Indians,
Mm-hmm.
and getting loud and rambunctious and frustrated and hot.
Explain that all chiefs and no Indians to people that don't know. What does that mean?
That is a term that people use for there's too many people in charge, not enough people to work.
To listen and do
To
and do
listen
stuff.
and just
Right.
do what's said. So there was 4 grown men all trying to do different tasks on one piece of equipment.
I'm listening.
So it was not going well, and so I just played the role of sit back and hush and whatever is needed, I'll do my best to try to provide. There was then the other situation.
What is that? Is that your normal? Do you like that role, or would you rather figure things out and be kind of the lead?
No, I would much rather he just be able to handle the situation, because I felt like they were all just trying to rush, and as soon as you get into a rush, that's when injuries occur and things get damaged. So.
Right.
So why did you choose to respond the way you did? Why
Because
did
they
you
did,
decide to sit
they
back?
did not need another person trying to take control, because it could just get worse.
Yep. Good.
Taking a step back and allowing them to.
So that's where we could say it was more important for you to be real than to get in there and cause a problem that then could cause an argument, and then you're not going to represent yourself as the man you're trying to show, and you just kind of sit back and find a way to go with the flow. That's not always the right choice, right? But when it is the right choice, it's the right choice, you know?
Definitely use humility in it.
Yeah. Good job.
The other one was, I had a gentleman walk up to me, he was like, go get me a drink. Now, had something else I wanted to say to him, and I said, okay. I went and grabbed the drink and handed it to him and walked off. But, the way he came about it, I was frustrated.
Yep. How'd you calm yourself down?
Just knowing that other situation happened beforehand, so he might have been frustrated or annoyed or hot or something, so I just took a step back and let everybody kind of have their space.
Dude, imagine if, honestly, if everybody in the world just took a step back, looked at and just said, wait, maybe something's going on that I'm not aware of right now, and let me try to respond here and not react, right? If we just use this for a positive, right? Throw some humility in there, you know, because your ego wants to go, dude, do you know who you just said what to?
Yeah.
Like, you think this is just some little country boy that you can, right? And you're like, you know, this might not be no size 12, but it's pretty strong. Good job, man. Proud of you.
Let's see, had 3 days this week where I literally sat on my butt and didn't do anything for 3 days.
Oh,
At
I can't do
work?
that.
And then Friday, at like noon, they told me I had to work Saturday when I already had plans, but I told them I'd work anyway. And it literally took me 2 hours and an hour drive there, hour drive back home. So the time I drove was how long it took me to do the job.
Right.
And then it kind of just messed with time frame for the weekend. But then but there was a point of frustration where I didn't work for 3 days, but then they needed me to work the weekend.
Right. And you probably didn't get extra pay or anything.
Oh, no, I got time and a half for it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And you got paid for the 3 days, so you didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a terrible week. I can see why you had some patience this week.
Oh, and it's frustrating for me because, and I've told a couple people this, my personality, it drives me crazy to sit back and just not do anything.
That's me.
I'd much rather stay home and not get paid for a day and be productive than go to work and sit on my butt and get paid.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right.
No.
Yeah, I'd be organizing a
It feels
trailer.
almost like you're being given a handout.
Right.
And I don't like it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you'd find me in a work trailer or a work truck, I'd be cleaning something or doing something. I'd have to, yeah, do some kind of planning or whatever. Are we ready for the one and the only Cade?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I read it twice. I think that's all I need.
All right.
Okay, so Melanie's gonna come set the stage.
Okay.
Oh, no, you don't even know, okay. So I'll set the stage, okay. So, the scene is, you have a single dad and a 21-year-old son that's living with him at home. And so that's the basic scene. And the dad is sitting reading a book. This is a book.
Oh, the script? Sorry.
So, Pops.
Hey, what's going on, Cade? How you doing today?
I just headed out going on a date with Tish.
Man, you're dressed up pretty nicely. You're going out with who?
Tish.
Tish. I thought you were dating Jessica. What happened to her?
Oh, we broke up.
You broke up?
Yeah.
All right, so I feel like I really got to know her.
Well, we were only together for 2.5 months, and if you weren't so busy in your room on Farmers Only and doing all the stock market stuff, you wouldn't get to meet her.
So, I feel like I was busy working to take care of the house and take care of the responsibilities around here and taking some investment time so we could actually have a nice life together. Feels like every time you and Jessica walked in the room, y'all just wanted to scatty off to your room and ignore me all the time. So it's kind of hard to get to know you guys when you don't want to clearly be around any adults, obviously. So I don't know why you're blaming this on me. This is totally on you guys, okay?
I don't know kids walking around, so I must be doing okay.
What did you say?
I don't have any kids walking around, so I must be doing okay.
Oh, I know you did. What? You're trying to talk to me because I had you when I was your age? Is that what this is about right now?
No, not at all. I just want to.
It sure sounds like you're being very disrespectful.
I just want to say that.
I don't like your tone.
I just want to say
What time did you date?
that right now.
Okay, good. Why don't you just bolt out of
We're
here?
bolting out of here.
Yeah.
Never coming back.
Okay, you have a wonderful night. All right, so what things do you feel were at play that we did wrong, okay, that you saw up here that would have probably helped us. Help us get
Yeah,
right.
read this.
And then we're gonna try to do the conversation again using some of these tools and see how we could have got it right. Is there anything up there that you think we could have used? Where is humility?
The whole goal.
The whole goal, everywhere.
Yeah.
So if, for sake of this workshop, anytime you see gold dust, like little spots of gold anywhere, that always represents humility.
Oh, I don't like that last page.
That last page is tough.
I don't like that. That's gonna be tough for me to say.
Yeah, you might have to read it.
Alright, so someone help them out.
All right, Melanie, come on up.
There. Oh, sorry.
I'm ready.
There's only Kate and her.
Well, they're gonna help us.
They have to help you.
See if you can give us any help, any things that we could have used, okay? So what was I as the dad,
It's yes and no.
what was I feeling? Do you kind of,
You were in like your defense.
I was in defensive mode, right? So it was kind of like, I'm trying to go, okay, I'm trying to do all this work and you're not appreciating me and I'm putting the blame on him. So if I would have used 100% responsibility instead of blame, blame's the opposite, do you think that would help?
Yes.
What might you have thought instead if you used 100% responsibility?
Okay, how may I change my actions? Or what can I do to
50
help the
millimeters.
situation
Mhm.
to better my relationship with my son?
Nice.
Right.
But what could he have done?
Apologized and said, yes, I was in the wrong. Is there, anything I can do? Any advice you want, or is there anything I can do to help? Or can we make a date, or get away to spend time together, or something like that?
Nice, nice.
So if he's
He's
saying,
getting into some of our answers.
so if he's saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong, then is he choosing to be real instead of be right in the instance? Like force how he was feeling and make Cade feel, just try to see what he was feeling instead of be real to who he wanted to be?
Right.
Was any of that me looking like my I am statement? Me being peaceful, trying to help other people find their purpose in life?
It was
Right.
being recommended.
It was just argumentative, it was all my ego, right, speaking and trying to blame the other person, okay? So the number one thing that we really try to do is use these two guys here, 100% responsibility, look at ourselves, how I could be causing the problem within why I didn't know his girlfriend, right, instead of blaming it on him. You guys just walked into your room, right? That's total pushback, okay? So when you're in conversations and you see this type of stuff, right, as soon as you see it, you say something and somebody else says something back, you want to catch yourself and remember how I got it wrong, and don't you be the one sitting in the chair doing what me and Kate just did, right? Because there's a whole different kind of conversation, and we're going to try to get it right this time. Can you come mark on mine the names that you want to use, Kate? So I get, oh, I don't even know if we talk about names. No, it's just there's one name.
There's
Okay.
one change.
Okay,
Yes.
change it.
So when you're talking about 100% responsibility and plank in your own eye, I loved how you did, kind of what he should have gone going forwards. But so plank in your own eye, right, is what did he do to contribute to the animosity between the relationship? So what would you say is the plank in his eye? What did he do that he should have recognized and said, okay, yeah, I realize I'm doing this and that's part of the problem?
When he flipped the subject of when Kate said, like he didn't have any kids, then he flipped it back, saying that's not the point, and then he basically created the argumentative situation
Okay.
by saying, or he's now already judging me that defensive mode of where he's like, are you comparing me to you, and going from there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sure.
So when I'm in my blue, all right, because you have to recognize who I am, right? I'm in blue. I have unrealistic expectations for relationships. I expect them to invite me to do things or whatever the case may be, right? And so I'm already in pain because they're just walking in and acting like they don't want me around. So one of the things in the pain cycle is right after the event was they walk in and act like they ignore me. Painful feeling is they don't care about me, they just want to do their own thing, right? And then my reaction, which those are all distractions from me living in my purpose and me being my I am, is okay, I wanna isolate myself, I wanna just stay away. I'm not gonna go tell them or invite myself or impose on them, I'm just gonna go over here. That's the first step for me, is to isolate myself when somebody doesn't make me feel valued, okay? And so that's some of the stuff that you saw, okay? And that's exactly what I do, you know?
And you can see that as you keep going to the left, his pain reliever was basically to hurt the other person back, right? To flip it around and hurt the other person back. And that's really common, right? We do that all
Right.
the time.
And you'll hear a little bit more about my pain reliever in the answer, too. Because this is when the conversation gets flipped around, when you start talking with these things, all right? And so let's just stop there and reboot it, because I think we've got enough. Anybody else have anything else we wanted to add? That was good. Skip 1, part 2, Dad's still reading in the chair. Hey son, you're back kind of early. How'd your date go?
I won't talk about it.
You want to talk about it? Would you mind just listening to something I have to say? I've really been thinking since we left, and I'd really like to ask you if I could just share something with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, I really appreciate that. I just want to tell you I'm really sorry for the way I talked to you earlier, and I feel like after your mom and I got separated, I just threw myself into my work because I was in a lot of pain, and I know that hurt you too, but it's something that I just kind of try to get lost in work, and I think I've become a lot more sensitive to people maybe not caring for me or whatever, and you know, I should have just asked you guys to spend time with you. I'm overly sensitive sometimes, and I'm trying not to be, but when I don't feel like somebody's invited me, I just isolate myself, and that's not your fault, okay, that's my fault, and I really want to work on not doing that anymore.
I know, me too. I've been trying to deal with pain in my relationships, and maybe that's why I'm not so happy with how things are going right now, but you don't have to worry about Tish, you're not going to meet her.
Why I'm not going to meet her?
I don't know. You need to work on me.
Did the date go good tonight?
No, she didn't like my jacket.
She didn't like the jacket?
No.
Dude, I thought that was my jacket.
Well, she didn't like your jacket.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's for the best. How about me and you just start working on our relationship? I'd love to spend some time with you, and you know, we gotta get through this together, because I'm sorry I've been hurting you.
It's alright.
Okay,
Let's
man.
get through it.
Hey, can we hug it out?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I love you.
Romance.
Thank you very much. Iced tea. By the way, okay, so, Melanie, if you want to come back up.
Don't worry about Tish, man.
Okay. So, applaud for Kate. Applaud. Clap so loud. Clap so loud. Okay, so did anybody recognize anything that we use to, and you don't have, if it, we'll walk through it, okay? But did anybody recognize, and even the peanut gallery, anybody can help, did anybody recognize anything that was used, starting with the father, okay?
100% responsibility.
100% responsibility. Yeah, okay.
What'd they do?
He said that it was his fault why they argued.
That's right.
Because you don't want to.
Nice.
And when you're in a healthy conversation, okay, here's the way it's gonna look. When it's healthy conversation, okay, both parties are gonna come to the conversation trying to take the responsibility for what went wrong, okay? Even if you don't feel like you necessarily did anything wrong, okay, you're still coming to conversation with, you know what, maybe I just need to be more understanding or more caring, or maybe I was too pushy. Like, you're stretching to figure it out, even if you don't know. That's when you are in a healthy conversation. Does that make sense? Okay? If somebody comes to you and they're like taking responsibility for doing something wrong, and you bring nothing, it's like, yeah, you did a terrible job. That was horrible. I can't believe you treated me that way. I mean, maybe you're right, but at the end of the day, that's not part of a healthy conversation. If the person just want to have that conversation again with you, you know, if they're like, hey, it's no problem, I've done something similar before in my past, or I've done something else, you know, we all have our bad days, and maybe you just had a bad, even if you can't take responsibility, you still come to the table with something to offer. Does that make sense?
Some kind of understanding.
Yeah, understanding or your own humility of something you may have done or messed up or.
That's right. So humility, bring humility to the table, bring understanding to the table, bring responsibility to the table, bring something to the table, and let me tell you what, you want to have a life that's going to bring you, attract good things to you, start working these tools into your conversation, okay? What else did you hear in that conversation besides that was added to 100% responsibility? There was another tool that I used. Anybody hear it? What about whenever we started talking about, ever since your mother and I got divorced, I have been feeling a lot of pain and it's buried myself in my work. What is that?
Pain cycle.
That's the pain cycle, right?
You're finding something to distract yourself.
Right. Remember, everything on the left is distractions, okay? You're gonna find that pain cycle come up. If you can remember that pain cycle, I would study it and lock it in as a tool, because you're gonna see people living in the distractions a lot, okay? And you don't even realize it. And if we, I think everybody, they have the pain cycle with all the examples filled in.
Yeah.
Okay. If they don't, well, that's one that you'll want to kind of go through and study. Because as soon as you see somebody start avoiding you or start isolating themselves or maybe doing even something that could be good but doing it too much, right? They could very well be in their pain. And then you can think, okay, this person, I don't have to take this personally, what went on in their life that could be a result of this, right? And there's probably some of that. Hey, Scranny.
What's up, girl? You just missed it.
So you just missed a cameo by Cade performance. Yeah. He only had to look at his skit notes once.
That was pretty good.
Pretty good. And he didn't even know there was a part 2 to the skit.
I had it all memorized until I sat down and I forgot everything I just read. Oh, what you doing, Jade?
Oh, he snuck back in on us.
Okay, so for the last one, so you guys don't forget it, he also was really good at admitting specific things that he did wrong, and that's 2 of the tools. Can you name either one of them?
I don't know what she's talking about.
What is feeling?
Humility for sure, being willing to admit the things that you do wrong definitely takes humility, right? Anyone say the other ones? Okay, you don't know it.
I know that the formula of success was in there because the event happened, I felt like he was rude to me or whatever, blamed me, and instead of me reacting like I did the first time, I decided to respond to my I am, and the outcome was different. We hugged. The first time, we hugged it out. That was a nice hug, thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna reiterate what he
What was
said
it?
only because it was so important. So we had the same event happen twice, right? But their response made all the difference to the outcome, right? And it will every time.
So that's how it's gonna work. That's just a scenario in your life that all the stuff that we've been working on, it's not just in a workbook and gets thrown away.
No.
It's stuff that you're gonna use in your life,
Great.
okay?
So if you have a bad outcome with anything, I want you to take a step back and say, this is what I messed up somehow. This is what we didn't do quite right. If the outcome was bad, it was the response that needed to be fixed, right?
Every time. And sometimes there can be outcomes that are bad, that are not your fault. But it's how you react to them or respond to them that's gonna make the difference on what you either grow from it or don't grow from it, right? And so that's gonna happen as well. Okay, so are we ready for the next slide, or where are we at?
I wanted to point out one more thing, if you don't mind.
Go ahead,
We're ready for the
please,
next one. Okay.
It is.
So if you guys remember when we did the pain cycle, we had the event and then we had a whole bunch of pie pieces to the left, right? Painful feelings, pain relievers, more pain, and everything just kept going around, right? And we told you we weren't doing anything to the right, right? Where do every single one of these tools go?
They all go to the right.
They all go to
Right.
the right,
Yep.
right?
They all make that
opposite of
cycle.
pain, right?
They all make that gear, instead of going this direction, they all make the gear turn towards your purpose, because we gotta remember the purpose life cycle. We probably should put that up here. The 4 gears, purpose is over here, and the only way to get the purpose gear and the relationship with others gear turning like this, creating a vortex, a contract you to fill your cup, is for that first gear to go that direction. So if your life isn't, you're not attracting your jobs to you, you're not attracting good relationships to you, you're not attracting good gains, good feelings, good emotions,
Good outcomes.
good outcomes in your life, okay? You need to go check your pain cycle and make sure that you're not just living in isolation, or you're just being stagnant. If that gear's not moving, is that okay? If any gears aren't moving, they're all just sitting still.
No,
Is
because
that okay?
all over the light.
No, it doesn't create vortex.
That's right, it doesn't create the vortex. You have to, what's that?
You're just living.
Yeah, you're just doing life, and what's happening is, you're just saying, whatever meteor showers wanna hit me, are just gonna randomly hit me. I'm not gonna create any energy that's gonna make something happen good, right? And no matter what it is, you've gotta put it into the funnel that's gonna actually feed the attraction to it. The good things are gonna happen. You never know when somebody's gonna watch you and see you react or respond to something well, and they go, wow, I saw that person. Because what's the biggest thing people do? Remember whenever we were, okay,
I just have an example for like
oh, please.
just that statement right there. So when I first wanted to look for a job, I really wanted to work at this feed store. I went in and asked him, hey, like, can I apply here? He goes, are you 18? I was like, no, sir. He's like, well, we're really looking for 18-year-olds to kind of work full time. I was like, you know what, fine. So I applied Cracker Barrel and got a job there. But then we had the county fair come in, and I was working the auction, and then the manager at the feed store saw me working there, and saw me reacting to people and doing good things, working with other people, and then he actually tracked me down to the Cracker Barrel and offered me a job there.
Perfect.
So that was actually something that good came out of it.
Yes. And let's use the word you were responding to people.
Yeah.
Responding, reacting, for sake of us, in this group, we're saying that a reaction to stuff like when I hit my knee, it just hits. It's a reaction, it's a natural reaction. A response is something that you are controlling and you're choosing to do in a specific way. And now we have in the way that leads to your I am, okay? Remember, where are we going with all this? It's all gonna lead to your purpose
Your purpose and the cup being full.
and your life being full,
Amen.
okay? So your job at the feed store didn't just happen, you attracted it to you. When you hear people say stuff about the law of attraction, okay? They can call it whatever they want, it works. It's God's way, it's what it is, okay? You do the things that create the glow within you, and people are gonna chastise it, just keep doing it, keep being it, keep being it, keep being it. Watch when how that will finally line itself up, and then good things will happen, and you'll be like, nah, that wasn't an accident, right? And that's when you start living the way God wants you to live. His way works. It just works. So you can call it the law of attraction, but it's God's, and it will attract you. So I'm fine with the phrase. I just want us to know within the parameters of this what we're kind of feeling about that. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Okay, so for these past 6 workshops, we've been learning all of these tools and how they work and how to apply them to ourselves, right?
Right.
But this workshop is called Relationship Village for a reason, right? Because you can't just deal with ourselves. What are we missing and what do we need?
Other people.
Alright, so we're going to start today, just start with a piece of learning how to consider the other person instead of just ourselves. So all these things that apply to ourselves, most of them are going to apply to, we want to consider that for the other person as well, right? So we're going to do some practice with that.
yeah, that's what the first skit was. It was a little bit about, so I understood me, and that was able to help the relationship with the other person, right? We want to go into a little bit on the colors to help you think about other people.
Have you guys heard the story?
Is it 3 or the
8. I think there's 8.
A bunch of,
8 blind men.
are they scientists?
8 blind
8
men.
blind scientists.
Eight blind scientists.
Yeah.
That is mine.
Who can describe this?
Everyone has different viewpoints of the one thing.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. That's what it is. Anybody can help add to that? Anybody got something to add to it? Sarah?
No, you do.
We can hear you back there. The mic will pick you up. Go ahead.
Basically, it's from different perspectives, basically. So, depending on where you are, you may get a different outcome or outlook.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I like that.
So the person that's holding the trunk right there, what is he saying it is?
It's a spear.
It's a snake. It's hard to see.
Oh, I thought you meant to call it a snake.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that guy up there is holding the horn. He thinks it's a spear, right? This guy up here is touching the ear. He thinks it's a fan,
Yeah.
right? This person down here is what's
Wall.
touching the leg, he thinks it's a tree, okay? The guy on the back is touching the tail, I think it's supposed to say it's a snake over there,
Yeah.
okay?
It's a rope, I think.
A rope, okay?
Yeah,
And-
so,
Go
are we
ahead.
supposed to be doctors? That's kind of. We don't know.
Let's call them scientists.
Scientists or doctors.
Smart, intelligent people that have no clue.
Okay, so we all have our own perspectives on things, and we're very sure we're right, and for good reason, right? But what if this guy who thinks it's a tree had stood in this lady's shoes for just a minute and felt this part? Do you think she would feel that it's a snake was a justifiable conclusion at that point?
Probably.
Yeah, if she thought it was a tree, and then she goes over and feels now it's moving, right? She's not gonna feel like it's a tree anymore with this nostril moving, right? So this is just a quick slide that's helping our minds kind of remember that in every situation, we have to take the event and have our response and try to think of the other person now, okay? What could the other person be thinking? What could the other person be feeling like me and Kate did in that response there? Okay.
And realize that both viewpoints have their points too, and it's only when you can put people's perspectives together that you can get a clearer picture.
Everybody got their notes? Everybody have something to write on?
Yes.
I want you to write this down, okay? Just give you a quick little tidbit, okay?
My pen up there. I take that. Where's me? Yeah, I should have a pencil or something. Here, I'll take my little. I'll take it off.
Get that 50 mil out.
50 mil.
She knows what that means.
Million?
Don't worry. If you don't know what that means, then you don't do anything.
Whoa.
When I say that.
Listen, I should talk to you like that.
Huh?
Or he talked to you, I'm sorry.
She's on. Okay, so what we'll have you guys write is there can be two parallel truths. Okay? Write it down. There can be two parallel truths. Because all these guys have their own truth, right? From where their perspectives is in life, okay? And that's a tool that you guys can think about and try to go, okay, maybe this person, and from their point of view, is right, okay? Maybe I'm right. A lot of people say this like, hey, let's just agree to disagree, okay? That's what people are kind of saying sometimes. But it has a negative connotation, okay? This saying here, I like more that there could be two parallel truths. Maybe you're right, maybe I'm right, okay? Let's work in that space and try to prove each other's rights instead of trying to prove each other's wrongs, okay?
If you think of people's perspectives as another piece of the puzzle, you'll really appreciate and have a lot more respect for each other than if you think of them as two opposing views. If you can put those together, you'll have a much clearer picture.
So last week, it was a mild conversation, like nothing serious, but
Okay.
I was having a conversation with a coworker, and I was talking about my truck, and I was doing the brakes on it, and I had to replace the brake calipers, and I was talking about how I had to take pliers to compress the four pistons, that way I could get the new brake pads in, that way I could put it on the caliper, or onto the rotor. And he was like, "You mean one piston?" I was like, no, it's got four pistons. He was like, "No, they only make one piston." I was like, "Okay, I said, well, I'll just look it up and we'll go from there." So I went on Google and looked it up, and his vehicle has one piston.
Mhm.
A lot of cars have one piston. My truck, which is a little older, has four pistons. So it's one of those situations where instead of going into argumentative mode, "Oh no, there's no way," it was into, "Okay, yes, you were right, but yes, I was technically right as well."
There's two parallel truths right there. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
And believe me, it'll happen in your relationship. Sometimes, somebody will say something like a literal component of how to do something, okay? And I might have a figurative way to do it, okay? And I feel like this is more important. Like it's more important to love in this situation than it is to do in the situation, a certain thing or a certain action. And I'm like, you can do that action, but if you're not doing it with love, it really doesn't matter. And they're like, well, if you don't do the action, then it'll never get looked at as love. And there could be two parallel truths. Okay, you do it your way, I'll do it my way, and I'll learn a little bit from you, and you can learn a little bit from me if we want to, and we both grow, right?
If they put them together, that would be the strongest possible way to do it, right?
And that's what you ultimately want to be able to do. So that two parallel truths, look for it when you're about ready to argue with somebody. You know, just make a stand and be like, maybe there's a parallel truth here. Okay? Little tool.
So we said we're gonna start considering all these tools from the other person's perspective. This will take a little bit. So today we're gonna work on a piece, and that's gonna be colors. And we know it's been a while since you guys have done colors, but we want you to really start considering things from the other person's color, because we really do come at things from a very different motive in life. From knowing Carl long enough, definitely I've learned to consider that what he says is what he feels he wants to do. And that's his motive in things. And not to take it so literally, because I know he's blue and very figurative. So just learning that about him helps me really understand him. And I know Shelly's probably done the same thing every day at work. helps us really understand him and where he's coming from and what he's actually trying to say. But I'm sometimes more literal, so I just have to remember to think of how he's thinking of something instead of how I am.
And then the same token, like I have two ladies that I'm working with that are very literal, right? And so now, can't say that, Hunter. So
What'd you say?
So I'm trying to look at the two parallel truths for myself a lot of times, right? And kind of go, okay, so that's important too. How do we get that across and still get this feeling that I'm trying to get across out there? How can we make that work? And a lot of times I'll ask the literal people because I'm only seeing it from the way I want to see it, right? I'm only kind of seeing it from how do we care for the situation? How do we nurture the situation? How do we love the situation? But you literally need to get this word right. You need to get this, and so it's sometimes it's a little journey that we can line up, you know, and it takes a minute to line those things up. But the beautiful thing is that with these two girls around me, women around me, I have been able to grow as a man exponentially because even though I'm stubborn and I'm Italian and I have a lot of resistance sometimes. They're starting to gang up on me enough that I'm starting to learn and grow from them, and we're starting to have this expanded view, all of us. You know, as a team, we are way more strong together than we ever were apart, right? And I can say that because I've heard Shelley say that to other people.
From the outside looking in, I think when we only look at it from our perspective, we limit ourselves as much as everybody around us.
That's right.
Because now we are not giving other people the opportunity to help us see things that we just couldn't see because we were physically blinded by the situation or emotionally blinded by the situation. And because you just physically can't see it, you don't know it's there. And
Right.
you can't use it to grow.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Amen.
So this is going to have a lot to do with our pain cycle too. We have to keep that in mind as we do it. And I'm going to kind of go through this with White and Hunter and Ailey. Please jump in, feel free. As I go, you'll get the idea. But I'm just going to explain from a White perspective because that's me and I can really feel what I'm saying. He can do blue afterwards. Roddy, you just be alone in the red.
I think you guys pretty much know me well enough that you've seen all these things. We could probably skip through the blues. It'll play itself out in the skits. These are just things that we want to see that other colors actually, to how to relate to other colors, what things they need in their life. These are their needs, right, Melanie?
Yeah, so it's basically what drives people to their pain cycles in a sense when we don't get what we need, right? So you want to look for this in other colors. Just so for a White, if you come at me in a way that's not kind, I'm automatically not going to receive that well. So you should know that about me as a White and always come to me with kindness. You should always be gentle and kind. Just like he's known, if he asks me, demands me to do something immediately, wants an answer, I probably can't give it to him. He'll give me a minute now and be like, okay, think on this and give me an answer in a minute, and then I'll be able to think it
A minute. It could be 4
It
days
could be 4 days.
that I have to wait to get my
And if
answer.
you push, you may get popped off.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You get popped off.
She doesn't pop off.
Yeah, you don't push a white well, it's a good thing to remember.
Yeah.
They either will be silently stubborn, better than anyone else in the entire world, or else pop off.
And then the fourth one on there, don't demand
Yeah,
what is that, conformity to
Don't
what
demand-
you want?
yeah.
Yeah, don't demand conformity.
No. We have to see
Right.
reason in things as whites. If we don't see reason and we demand it anyway, we don't do well with that. So it's something to consider when talking with a white, and this is gonna be true for every person. You really wanna know what motivates that person and what's important to that person, what they need. Because if you go against it, they're automatically gonna be like, and they're gonna react in some way that's not gonna be good.
But remember this, I'm about to give you a little spin around, okay? This is about 100% responsibility.
Mhm.
So you can't use any of these things to point to your partner or your friend in life and go, hey, you know I'm right, you can't come to me and demand anything. You can't do that, right? They are using this to try to approach you better and understand you better, right? You have to take responsibility that you don't use who you are as an excuse to blame them. You can't go in a relationship, remember healthy relationships only go, we're both trying to take responsibility. So if you're like, hey, you know you can't talk to me that way, I'm white, what are you doing? You're blaming them.
You're blaming for being white.
And that's gonna cause, when a conversation gets out of control, because you're trying to make them, so if I go, hey, you know how sensitive I am, why don't you come up and, I could've told Kate, that I could've done that, I said, Kate, you know I'm blue, you know I'm so sensitive, and I, really want a relationship with you, why wouldn't y'all come in and invite me to spend time with you instead of just walk into your room,
Do you think he would've gotten anywhere if he said that?
No.
right? Cause he probably come back and been like,
That's the part of the don't control their life, you're basically telling him he needs to come in and invite you.
Exactly.
That's
I
right.
don't want to be.
so we can't use these things to stay in our pocket. We can't use these things to say, oh, you know what, I'm always logical and you're trying to act like I'm not logical right now, you need to stop that. You can't point the finger, this is where the plank is always in your own eye, okay? So then, if that's happening, don't demand, then you gotta figure out a way to say, hey, in these situations, it's hard for me. You can say this, it's hard for me if you demand something out of me. I really know that it's important to you. So how can we work together so this conversation can be something that I can hear right now? Or maybe I just need a little bit of time so I can process this because I'm getting ready to pop off and I don't want to. And it's not your fault. You can say that. Does that sound healthy? Yeah? If you take responsibility that these are things that you need, right? But you don't live in the need, which is something else we're gonna start working on, you're gonna be taking 100% responsibility.
Amen.
The one thing colors never are.
What'd you say?
an excuse.
Say amen.
You said it?
What?
Amen.
What?
Amen.
Hey, man! You gotta get it. Yeah, we gotta have it.
Yeah, so don't ever use it.
I always wanted to do
for
that.
yourself, okay? They're always meant to be understanding of others and helping yourself grow. Never, ever, ever use them as an excuse.
Okay,
Because
so
you never
but
have an excuse not to grow. You never have an excuse not to take responsibility and try to become a better person. And if you try to demand these for yourself, you're just making excuses for why you don't want to grow and you want everyone else to grow instead.
So when you say that, are you saying, as a white, that's a guideline on how to approach somebody that?
that's right, that's right.
Okay.
So this is for us to help. We're now working on a relation with others. Everything up until this point was understanding ourselves,
So
right?
for you as a white hunter, this column is invisible. Your columns that you need are the red, blue, and yellow. It's how to approach other people, what they need, and what the best thing that you want to give to them is. You would ignore blue, yellow, red, ignore them.
I'll add to what she's saying. I'll add to what she's saying.
Except for other people in the.
That's still also the same
That's
color.
right. That's what I'm gonna say. But I'll add to what she's gonna say. Say that again. Say that again, Serena.
Yeah.
Like even if the person's the same color as you, sometimes I'll even still forget like,
That's true.
that's because they're blue, I need to pay attention.
Okay, she's right, no blocking.
Yeah. And we, so like in that case, we've learned that we don't dismiss what anyone's saying when we're up here. We find a way to build on it. And so that's what I was gonna say. And I'll build on that. You can also use it if you're gonna use it towards somebody else, right? Understanding your own color, you're like, oh, I'm blue, I would want someone to be really sensitive and sincere with me. And right now, I'm being very logical and I'm talking to a blue, I need to be more sincere. Because remember, we all have all colors, okay? Well, so you might be in one color, but acting in another color because circumstances or situations that you're in.
just a mood you're in.
Right. Because I think when you're at work, you probably sometimes slip into red and get into that leadership. Oh, yeah, that's the I wish you could get a picture of his brows right now. he went like this. He was like, you better believe it. Okay? All right. So we'll send this home with you guys so you guys can work on it. Did you want to go over this any longer? Any more?
No, but I think since you were saying it, go ahead and go to the next slide.
Okay.
About yellows, be positive.
You want to talk about yellows for a minute?
Offer praise and appreciation and respect.
All right. Let's go back for a minute
Go back
because Kate
for a
wanted
second
to.
for yellows.
Kate wanted to. Kate.
There you go.
And Kate. So you got to be really positive and upbeat with yellows. Offer praise and appreciation. Accept playfulness. Promote enjoyment in their work. Okay? That's a hard one because, you know, as a boss, you see somebody playing around and goofing around. Sometimes you're thinking, now they're not getting things done. I've learned to add playfulness into my work, right? So then the guys can have more fun. When we were working at the church hall, what was I doing this week? I was making it a game, right? Shooting everybody with the water. Come on, help me out here. I'm like, what? What happened? What was I doing?
You shot me with a bunch of.
I had a pressure washer. And anytime somebody would come out of the church door, I was like, you know, act like I was.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, we got so you know, so I was in my yellow. I have a pretty big chunk of yellow, you know, so I'll fall into it sometimes. You know, one of the reasons why? Because I couldn't be here. Because when I'm in a work environment, I want to leave. I didn't see things going well, and it was starting to bother me a little bit because we didn't have like the water supply was locked and we couldn't get it. It wasn't open, and the pressure washers weren't set up properly, and they didn't have the right hoses, and it wasn't really organized, and we had mildew. That there was no mildew remover, and it was just like, you know. So instead of getting frustrated, I just went to my playful side and had a good time.
Two things.
What?
Don't let OSHA hear you spraying people with pressure.
Yeah, that's
Dude, if you saw the pressure washer that I was using, it was this little electric thing like this. It was like this huge church. It was like, this is a game.
Like a high pressure water hose.
It was a high pressure water hose. That's all. I sprayed them like, didn't even hurt at all.
Say yes.
Say your insurance claim.
And it was a volunteer at a church, so you can't see church.
The second thing is whenever at my previous job, something that I always did, because I was kind of over some of the employees whenever our manager was gone. Something I did, especially like to get them motivated to move forward, and I needed them to push as a red. Something I did was instead of saying, "Hey, go do this," "Hey, I need you to really like focus and do this," hit them with a question like, "Hey man, do you mind doing this?" Or, "Okay, well we have to do ABC. Which one would you like to do?" And I can go from there.
Yeah,
Kind of give them
that's
the
great.
option
Yep.
and flexibility, feel like they have a choice.
Right.
Which helps.
I do the same thing at work. I ask the question like this. Okay, what do you guys think the best staging order is for this job? Okay, these are the things. And then I'll say, so here's our job, our task that we have to do today. We write them out. Okay, what do you think the most important one is to get done first? What tools do you think we need? So I kind of go into like a little bit of a submission role and go, and then I go, is there anything I could have been missing here? Right? As soon as somebody comes up with an idea, what do I say? Oh, great, thank you.
Yeah. It gives the people who normally don't feel like they have a voice.
That's right. Yeah, very good. Okay. All right, we're ready for the next slide? Hey, can you fix that blanket?
Well, Jake's
I know.
Who, me?
Okay, Serenity wants to say something over here.
Oh.
It's changed though. I just wanted to
All
ask.
right, go back.
You can go
I
back.
just wanted to ask if like everybody like look at your own color, like is that accurate?
Yes.
Oh,
Why?
that's a good question.
100% yellow. That's 100%
Victoria,
truth.
Victoria, is that accurate to you for this?
talk to me.
My blue and red is very similar, and sometimes I think the red is more comparable to me than the blue is.
Mhm.
Right, yes, so both would be applicable to you, I just wanted to know.
Yeah, there's a good book that I read that kind of talks about, gives you questions about things in your life and helps you to kind of go, which one do you actually lean toward? Sometimes it's in one part of your life, you lean more towards one, and another part of your life, like in work and stuff, I'm a lot more red at work than I am blue, And so then a lot of times when I come home, I'm like, when I go to church, I'm all here. And then sometimes things have to really get disorganized for me to start going here, and I go, oh, come on, let's get this, whatever it is. But a lot of times they'll ask me to do tasks and stuff at church, and I'm so disorganized, and I'm so like, I'm not even focused on it. I'm like totally just wanting to meet people and talk and enjoy, and it's like, I can't do the simplest task.
I've noticed at work and like especially like at home too, I'm a lot red. So
Right.
I try to be more blue, but red.
Right. Well, red is the part of you productive,
Yeah.
and you see a lot of things getting done there.
I know for me, mine is different, like externally versus internally. So externally, if it's more of a business venue like this is, or more of a, just maybe I don't know you really well, my white is much stronger. But if it's my internal self, or if you're very close to my internal world, I'm maybe more blue in those times. So mine is a matter of that as well. Which one comes out more?
And we're also thinking a lot about ourselves again, but remember, we're trying to think about these things and how they relate to others, okay? So one thing that we'll start working on, not tonight, is how to understand colors quickly. And I'm going to make up a little questionnaire where you can ask 2 or 3 questions to people that you love and be able to figure out what color they are. Is that cool? Where you don't have to go through a whole testing and all that kind of stuff. You can get a pretty good idea, okay?
Sometimes that's really hard because
It is, it's not, yeah.
assumption shows a different color sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Let me,
Say that again, Serenity.
I just said sometimes that can be really difficult to find out what color someone is, like even if you know it pretty well, because people will look a different color because they're dysfunctional.
Right, exactly. One of the questions that really helps is, what frustrates you the most in life? And talk to them a little bit about that. And what do you do? How do you respond to that? So when you see that, a lot of times, they could be acting out of their dysfunction, but their go-to, a lot of times will be their function, But yeah, it can be tricky. But, if you're dealing with a highly dysfunctional person, you probably need a team of people around you. You know what I mean? Because it can just be, some people are in so much pain, and you got to remember, and this is one thing about the pain cycle too, that'll help you guys. When you're in pain, there's scientific research that says your cognitive thinking or your awareness thinking goes down by 33% or more. Okay? Which means rational thinking goes out the window, and it's all fight or flight, meaning I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to make you look bad. If you're in a fight with a bear, you're not thinking about doing a math equation. Okay? You probably couldn't add 2 + 2, right? There's like, if it's real high levels of pain, your cognitive thinking goes down to almost nothing, right? So if this person's in a constant state of pain in their life, off and on, they can be always just acting out of their ego, responding. They're very sensitive. They're going to say something and it might sound so, you look at them and go, how could you think that, right? If you ever have that look on your face, that person is probably in a lot of pain. If they're that far off the Richter scale,
They're just not making sense.
they're not making sense at all, and they're blaming you for something that's clearly, you just want to go, hey, wait a minute, you want to put them in a logical thought process, and they don't get it at all, you probably want to take a step back and go, okay, there's something else going on here. We're going to have a video that's going to kind of show that thing. Okay.
Yeah. So that's.
I want your video.
Okay, we'll do
the
video.
video,
All right, next,
Video.
next, are we watching a video?
I think
I
next.
hope it's not Spider-Man.
After that.
Okay, one more quick one. Slide.
Just because Hunter said it, and we don't even really, you guys already touched on it, was, okay, so we call that don't put people in a box, right? So she's red and blue, but she's also yellow and white
No
too.
ball.
You can't say that someone's always going to respond in white or blue or
Not
red
that
or
you know
yellow.
a person's specific.
And situations are different, like you said, it depends on the mood you're in, or for me, the person I'm with, or for you, or if you're at work or not. you're at work or not, a lot of things make a difference. So you can't just say, you know, this person's red, I expect them to always react that way. You really have to be far more inclusive than that because we're all everything. So don't use them to box, use them to understand.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Say you deal with someone on a daily basis, and they do stick to a specific color for a lot of things that they do, but when you approach them as to, okay, that's kind of frustrating, I don't know how to go about it, and they say, oh, that's just me.
Right, right.
How are you supposed to go from there? Because now at that point, you're at the, well, they're not going to change, and they don't care as to, okay, this is me, that's what you're trying to do.
Yep. And that's probably more the normal than the
It's
rarity.
gonna happen.
Okay? As soon as you need anybody else to change, to have peace in your life, in that circumstance, who has control? You or them? Think about it, I'll say it again. As long as you need somebody else to change in that circumstance or that event, for you to have peace, who has control? Them or you? They have control. Okay? As soon as you need, if you would just understand this, if you would just try to be more like that, for you to maintain your peace, then they have control. Because if you need them, the guy that taught us says if you need even 1% for the other person to change before you can get to your peace, they have 100% control. That's how big it is, okay? And so when we talk about our example in our lives, Jesus Christ, right? He had to not need the Pharisees to have any need for them to change, for him to be at peace and be able to pray for them and go do his purpose in his life, right? God's will for him was to give his life for them and to love them in spite of them. And he prayed for them, forgive them for they know not what they do. So that's how his 100% responsibility was. They don't know what they're doing, right? They don't understand. So why am I going to be mad at them? Okay? So I honestly feel that he was at total peace in that moment when he prayed that prayer that said, they don't know what they're doing. Like sometimes you just gotta, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to get out of his own way. He doesn't know what pain is affecting him. You gotta rationalize it in your own mind. And help me out here, Serenity and Melanie, because you girls are really good with knowing other people's colors.
Can you tell me for an instance, if you can go back one slide too, please, Sarah? What color does he usually present in, this person?
Red.
Okay,
For sure.
so if she goes back one slide, so this is kind of,
A lot of it comes off as, like stern. It's very punctuated,
Right?
so.
so this gives
Start
you
feeding them.
the ability to make a difference, and that this is how you use this. So it's a perfect analogy, it's a perfect example. If he presents as red, feed red.
Feed it.
Present him logically, be clear, be competent, give him admiration and respect for what he does. If he's red, and he really is red, he's going to seek admiration, respect. He really respects logicalness and competence in other people. The banter's not a problem for him. Banter back and forth, and don't take it personally. Feed that, what a red needs, and if you can feed that, he's probably not going to have a problem with you.
Okay.
And that's what these are for. So
And this
that's
works,
exactly
guys.
what they're for.
This works. In my business, it can
Take
take
time,
years.
definitely.
It can take years.
Yeah.
Okay? I've worked on this with some people that are really close in my relationship with my family, and we have really gained a lot of ground. I mean, I have some relationships now that I just couldn't ask them to do one thing. I had to move and move and move. And the craziest thing is, once you move long enough and far enough toward someone that's giving you resistance in your life, like we were talking about the other night, Roddy, they eventually sometimes start coming. And they start, you know what, I really appreciate you. And they start giving you the respect back. And you're just like, you're going to be at a point where you don't even need it. And that's whenever it's so beautiful, because you're like, wow, I really got that peace with all this. You know, you talked about that, you know, with the one girl at work, Victoria. And the beautiful thing is, what I want you guys to do is to be able to get at peace with the situation and within your own spirit, no matter what, ultimately. And if they move, they move. Okay? You will see movement sometimes, and it will take some time, like Serenity said, okay? Or not at all. But what we're offering doesn't matter what the other people do. It's peace within you. Okay?
And it's the power within you to make a difference. So understanding that about people, and we'll move on to the video after this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it gives me chills because this is the ultimate way to live your life, that no matter how your mom's treating you, your dad, your family members, your friend at work, whatever, you can start thinking, using all these tools. If you study this stuff and you really start applying it, you've got peace bullets in your chamber to fire back. And like I said, one of the little anachronisms I gave you guys, you might want to write this one down too. Meet all resistance with love. Okay? As soon as you feel some resistance, somebody's giving you a kickback, they're treating you like, go get the water, go do this, right? You're feeling that resistance, meet it with love. Right? And if you don't know how to meet it with love, then research.
And it's beautiful, and you'll find this for everybody. And with Red too, you meet them with respect and admire their opinion, appreciate their opinion and where they came from.
There's a scripture in the Bible. Do we have a scripture on this one? Can we put it in?
It's not on the slide because
Do
it's
we
the
get?
stuff.
Okay. So a scripture just came to my mind, and we're going to be building on this later. Okay. Ask and you shall find. Seek and you shall ask and it shall be answered. Seek and you shall be found. And knock and the door shall be opened. Okay. And what that means is you have to actually do some work. Okay. You have to ask the right questions. You have to seek the right answers. You have to go try to make a difference in a relationship or a situation, right? God might be the only one that can truly open that door and release that situation, okay? Then you got to go back to step one, okay? Ask God for help. Ask Him for more peace. Ask Him to help you learn more humility. Go seek more knowledge. This is knowledge. How do I handle that situation better? This person is not loving me. They're not caring for me. They're not respecting me, okay? Get on your knees. Pray for more love. Pray for more patience. Work towards more praise. Seek more knowledge of how to understand them. This is the work that is the way.
Relationships take work.
Okay? You want those relationships to change? You got to put in the work. You can't ask them to do nothing. Nada. Okay? And I tell you what, when God feels that peace in your heart that you're getting, sometimes He'll open that door for you. And you'll see that person come around like Victoria was talking about, and you'll be like, wow, that was cool. Okay? That's the attraction that's going to happen when you start doing this. This stuff works. Okay? This is nothing. It looks like book work. This is life work. Okay? We've all applied this in our lives and it works. It doesn't always have to work, but it works inside here. Okay.
Alright, so we're going to have some fun with skits now and videos. We'll start with the video. But
Okay.
it's all going to be how to put this into practice, okay?
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's gonna stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever gonna stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
See, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See,
out.
you're not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Come on, if you would just...
Don't!
What did Tom get from that?
She has a nail in her
She
head.
was not ready for the logic.
Okay, what else?
You should have just
Is that
grabbed
it?
it. Just boop.
You know, sometimes you can see the problem in the people around you, but if they're not ready, to
Except,
accept it, it's not the right time, okay? That's one of those situations where I go, it's more important to be real than right there. You're trying to be a committed, loving person, and it's just frustrating them to see the truth right there, right? And us guys really have to learn that. Guys, it's not about the nail,
No,
okay?
it's never about the nail.
Because we always want to fix things. And let me tell you something.
Nope.
I learned this too late in life, but now it's never too late. I wish I learned it earlier. But you just can sit there and even my employees now, because I'm using it at work a little bit more, they'll make some of the goofiest excuses sometimes for what they did, and I'm just like, I'm cutting them off and going, that's not, and I still do this sometimes. And then I go, it's not about the name, you just listen. They want to be heard, they want their opinion to be heard, they want to have their process to go through.
wait a minute.
Yeah, and then I even go, okay, so you feel like this is the problem and this and this and this. What can I do to help with that? I've already got my rendition of what I was thinking, but they're not ready for it yet, right? Well, I think if you did this or that, sometimes it's like still in left field, right? I'm like, okay,
It's not about that.
I'm willing to work on that. Is there anything else? And then sometimes we go, well, and then, once I do that, then they'll go, and then I could probably do a little bit more, be a little more organized, and maybe get things, this, that, and then I'm going, like that was what I wanted to say all along. But if I didn't let them go through their process, right, and hear them out, then I got nowhere.
All the sweaters were snagged, man.
All the sweaters, dude.
So I heard-
I bought all those sweaters for her.
I heard a saying on the radio today, I'm like, oh, it's perfect. The guy said, there's a reason why we have a mouth that can shut and ears that never can.
Dang, I like that.
Yeah, and
Put
that's,
that on.
I was always told listen twice, speak once.
yeah, that's the Bible verse, right?
I feel a bunch of fingers pointing at me.
So that's what we're gonna practice with these skits and with this video is really listening to what the person is actually saying, even if they're not saying the words. That girl started to open up at one point in the video when there was only one spot.
When you started to listen.
When he listened, right? When he said, I'm sorry, that's hard. She said that's all she wanted, right? Is just to be heard. And when he just said, that's it, I'm really sorry, I'm sure that's hard.
Got the kiss. She came out the kiss.
Right?
Yeah.
He should have come in sideways. He saw the nail. He should have been like,
I thought he was. Hammered in a little more.
let's just get this over with.
Victoria,
Oh.
would you or would you not have gone, what is that? And snatched it right up out of there.
What's over here?
But she would have done one of these, what's that? Whack!
Ow!
But the thing is, like you said with the color, when we can feed what the person's actually telling you they need, that they're telling you they really want, do you think if he had done that long enough, the girl would have been willing to listen to, okay, maybe I really do need to remove the nail eventually? Right? So we really need to feed what the other person's really saying they actually want, or what
Right.
they really feel the problem is. So we really gotta learn to really listen.
And what if he just took a couple hits to the head, right? He's like, honey, you're bleeding. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's something on you. 'Cause every time I kiss you, I'm bleeding. There's a red spot right there. Really? Oh my goodness, there's a nail in my head.
I would have said
How
that
do
in
you
joke,
remove
but
that?
turn here.
Very carefully.
Right? Okay. Is this stuff starting to make sense?
Yeah.
It's not
Okay.
about the nail.
Right. It's all, and all these little scenarios, and don't forget all these little, things that we're working on in your IM statement. There's a loose cord there.
So these are just some things someone might really be saying. I tried to color them for you a bit so they would make sense in color. Maybe they're really saying this even though they're not saying those words, okay? A red might be really needing respect. Maybe, yellow just needs to feel like, you praise them and you love them and you appreciate them for what they do, okay? So some things that they might really be feeling on the inside. And as we do skits, we'll just leave this up and you can really try to listen for what the person really needs.
Okay, so what we're doing, our scenario is like a boss to an employee. So I am the boss, Hunter's going to be an employee.
Wow.
So we're sitting at our
3-month mark, ready for our, to go over
Right.
our progress. how
Right,
we're
evaluation.
doing. Yeah,
Yep.
that word.
Yep.
So, okay. Good. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Alrighty, well, I just want to kind of do like a progress check with you and tell you how you've been doing.
Okay.
I think you've been doing all right, considering. I just feel like sometimes you leave too much stuff out and you don't make fast enough decisions. Like, I want you to be on point, bam, bam, bam. And sometimes I just feel like you don't do that.
Oh, okay. What is it?
Is there something I'm missing?
Oh, I mean,
hit 'em.
good. It could be that I need a little bit more help from management. I mean, it's kind of frustrating the fact that I have to wait around for people to get their paperwork in line for me to have to go do my job out on the road. It's kind of hard to do that as well as management has to get in on my part so we have to go do my job. It's not really my fault. That's where you want me to be more neater around the shop. I mean, I'm sorry that I'm kind of indecisive and all, but I get frustrated because I have multiple people telling me they want me to do it a certain way. And there's multiple ways to do it. And so I get flustered because I get midway through one process, get told to do another. And then I get halfway through that and get told a third way. So I could use the management to kind of get their cards together, that way I can do my job successfully.
See, there's multiple situations to do things. Well, this is my business, so I want you to do it my way.
Mm-hmm. Tell 'em, girl.
I really want you to do it my way, and I feel like you just aren't. I feel like you're just taking too much time to think about it and think about it how you want to do it, when there's certain things I really want you to do my way.
Okay, now I understand that. From a boss point of view, that's what I would want too. But I also haven't seen you out there teaching us on how you want it done. You just look at the end result and it's not how you want it, and I get shocked for it. The fact of the matter, all the technicians teaching me how to do it aren't doing it the way you want me to do it. Why is that my fault? As well as there's everyone else out on the field does it the same way our head technicians do it. Again, why is that my fault? Because they're teaching us the wrong way.
Okay, well, I kind of don't understand. This was our progress check, and I was supposed to tell you what was going on. So I don't know why you're coming back at me. So why don't we try again next week, and you can dismiss yourself.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, great.
See ya. We'll want to be
Slam the door.
You could be fired.
Great job. Nice job.
That was totally improvised. He took it the wrong way. We did not talk about it.
Oh, she's gonna come out of it. She's gonna come out of it, and we're gonna have another long discussion. She's blaming you on the outside too. Inside and outside.
The first plan was I was being submissive. I didn't like that role.
Yeah, and I thought it was better the way y'all did it because
Good job.
you both needed to be hitting back on each other like that. So
That was
I think
great.
it's good. I think
We
it's
told
really
each
good.
other this is how we would respond in a situation just like that.
Yeah, right. And then after
Without learning what we learned here before that.
That's okay. That's perfect.
Good job.
It was terrible. so
It
you
might
did a
not be,
great job.
my phone might not be giving you the Wi-Fi it needs right now. Are you needing Wi-Fi over there?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yep, that's probably what it is.
That was great.
Wi-Fi.
Alright, Melanie, take it over from there so I can, get this fixed, please.
All right, so let's help them with this. What did they do, not do, need to do? You need to help them fix this. All right, we'll start with Victoria. So as the boss, what did she do that she shouldn't have?
Blame it all on him.
Okay, blame it all on him.
Yeah, blamed it all on Hunter.
Okay, what might she have done instead?
Ask
like a reason for, like, I kind of just asked his feeling about things. And then kind of got the whole story and went from there. Okay, so maybe gotten a little bit more of the story. What if, yeah, I like that, getting more of the story, just kind of taking his input really more seriously and appreciating it. Now, Victoria did have the point that she's the boss, and she really wasn't there to take up complaints though, right? She was there to kind of evaluate him, so how might she have dealt with that?
All gas, no brakes.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Not. Can you repeat the question?
Yes.
Okay.
So Victoria had the point as the boss that she said to him, you know, this is your evaluation, I'm here to evaluate your
Oh.
work, so why are you complaining against me and my work? Like, this is not the point of this meeting.
He's
So what
not-
might
he's
she
just
be able to do
frustrated and
instead?
expressing himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, him expressing himself translated into her thinking that she was like getting attacked. Maybe. Could be wrong.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, as a boss, if you would say, okay, you know, this is your 3-month evaluation, we're here to evaluate your work, but I do appreciate your comments and perspective from the workers' force, and we can set up another meeting if you would like to address this.
Maybe
Right
slang.
now, we're addressing your own performance.
Just plug in.
Maybe just divide what you're talking about, because one of the worst things to do in all relationships are guilty of doing this is bringing more things into it, right? Well, you did this, well, you did this, well, you did this, and you did this, right? Instead of just staying with what's actually being talked about, right? So you can set aside a time to talk about the other issues that are being brought up, but just that that's not what you're addressing right now, right?
Yeah.
What about for Hunter? What did Hunter do they shouldn't have or not be doing? What are the steps that he could have used
Okay.
more if we go up?
In our pre-talk, she said one thing that like triggered me like that.
The
She's
free talk.
no, you know what she said? She said, I expect you to 110%.
You should look at her look right now.
I was like, oh, she better not say that because I'm gonna go off.
So the basic
Nobody
thing was,
appreciates what I did.
you were being demanding and, you know, you wanted your way, and you wanted to blame her, and she just wanted you to do what she wanted. And so, yeah, that's a conversation that is not what we call a healthy conversation. It doesn't matter, you're in a power situation, you're the boss or not, you're not empowering others by saying, hey, you know, and I'm sure the next go round, it's gonna be more about taking responsibility for the output, right? And right there, it's just total.
Button headed.
Right, exactly.
That's
So-
sometimes.
And could there have been any pain in there? Does the boss have a
Definitely.
possibility that she's like, you know what? I just want things done my way because you know what?
I own this.
I own this company and I want people to listen to me. That's part of what I do. And I can do a side head snap.
And there's pain in Hunter's because he's not getting the
Yeah,
training.
guys can't do side head snaps. I don't know. Girls all do it. Every girl can do it. Can you do the side? It's like something they teach you coming out of the womb. A guy wobbles his head like this, he goes.
Built into the end there.
And all girls go, blink, 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 straight back and forth, yeah.
Hey,
Try it, you can't do it. Oh, don't do that, please.
It's slightly scary.
Whoa, I did not see that. Okay, so you guys wanna go ahead and, go ahead and tell us what you're gonna use, or just fix it and then we'll tell you what tools we're going to use. Alright?
We're fixing it.
you ready?
It's like, wait, oh, okay.
I'm so extra.
110%.
I know, Sarah, you need to start.
Come in. Hey Hunter, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So, purpose of this meeting, I'm sure you know, evaluations already. How do you think you've been coming along?
I think it's been pretty good. Feel pretty confident. I mean, there is some spots that need a little bit of working on, but besides that, no, it seems to be going good.
What do you think you need some work on?
Truthfully, I find that I kind of do leave some tools out and kind of have a little bit of messy workspace that is I get frustrated because I have a lot of people telling me different ways to do something, and I get flustered, so it's making me have a hard time making a decision, which is reflecting how I'm handling being organized.
Okay, so that's actually one of the points I was gonna make too. I kind of think maybe some things are just a little messier, but that explains why you're kind of leaving the way things are, because you're frustrated yourself. How have you tried fixing that? Have you tried talking to anyone, or are you kind of keeping to yourself a little bit?
A little bit of both. When I get heated, I try to just kind of lay low, just let my anger disperse, and then I try to go talk to some of the managers and the other technicians, because as we know, they all kind of have their different
Yeah.
ways and teachings.
Yeah, everyone has their own way. Sometimes I like to be a little bit more demanding or want things done my way, but I've been trying to kind of focus on what other people's needs are, right? So maybe one day we can just sit down and all together and kind of focus on what everyone's needs are and how we need to manage the whole situation and try to find a better way to do it. But overall, I think you're doing pretty good. Just maybe tidy up a little bit and maybe make a little bit quicker decisions if you can. But other than that, you've been doing really good. So good job.
Well, thank you. Is there anything that I can do to help around the shop, anything else, or management or anything?
Anything you see that needs to be cleaned up, just take initiative.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
You got reads.
Very good, very good. Anybody want to comment on that? And is there anything you can add to it that they could have added in there a little bit more? Any of the tools that could have been added more?
Yeah. So what tools did they use?
The drill.
Okay.
They used
You guys can say it too,
I
Hunter.
can't
Sorry,
think
what
of the
tools
word
did you use?
I can't think of the word.
Describe them.
100% responsibility.
Okay, when you take 100% responsibility.
Whenever I claim that, yeah, I made a mess and I'm disorganized.
Okay, yeah, you were honest, you took responsibility instead of blaming it on everyone else for what you do, right?
Oh, I used this one.
Humility? No, like in your honor?
I think because I was like, everyone gets that way sometimes. Like sometimes I tend to be a little bit more demanding, so I'm not gonna push that on you that you're not doing.
Now, one good way to present yourself in situations like this is to go, is there anything that I can do to help you get your job done better, right? And when he was talking about, being organized and stuff like that, it's like, hey, and I like what you came up with, it's like, maybe we can all sit down together and come up with a plan, right? You don't have to have the answers, but that was a good way to come about it. Right.
Resolution.
Exactly.
That was nice.
And so, one of the things too that could be at play in there, is there anything that be going on at work? Like you use a tool like, okay, so Planking Your Own Eye was like, hey, maybe I haven't trained you well enough, and maybe are the trailers organized enough to where they make sense to you? Maybe they're put in a way that doesn't make sense to you, and we can help them make more sense. If the way you actually use the tools, they would go back that way. Is there anything like that could be just frustrating you, right? You're kind of talking to their pain, right? Their pain cycle. Like, is it frustrating you to be in the trailer? So then instead of moving and putting it back where it goes, you just get frustrated and you leave it alone, right? So sometimes you can actually go right to a certain tool, What's important to you in your life, Hunter, is doing your work well, and taking pride in your work, and trying to get them to feel valued, right? Okay, let's see how we can bring that out. So now you're speaking to his I am statement, right? So you can speak right to these things, in certain moments, and you can actually get them to respond to you, all right? Great job, guys. Good job. All right?
So I'm the mother.
Yeah, I
this
did.
is my daughter.
All right.
She's going to come in late again, but from that side of the room.
Are you gonna come in later again? Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's
I've had
okay.
this talk many times.
We thought about it, but
Coming
decided
later again?
not to be blinded. That's great.
Are you standing for this?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see.
And that.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're on.
Skip 3. Take 1. Action.
Ailey, it's 11 o'clock. Your curfew was 10 o'clock. You asked for extra. I gave you 10:30, and you're still a half hour late. It's 11 o'clock. Where have you been?
Sorry I'm late. My friend had a personal issue I had to help him with.
You always have some excuse. What personal issue?
It's I can't really say it's personal.
That doesn't sound like an excuse. Ailey, you're always late. You asked me for extra time, but I need you to be responsible when I give you extra time to actually be responsible.
Well, I'm trying to be better.
Trying how? I give you extra time and you're still late. Speaking of which, where's your report card you were supposed to give me 3 days ago? 82, 83, 79. Maybe these are better, but I told you before, if you would just take an hour and a half a day and actually study, you could have these up to A's. I know you could. You can do better than this if you just would follow the advice that I give you.
Why do you have to be so strict about everything?
Should just be more responsible.
That was good.
Good job.
That was good.
It is so hard for her. She would still be nice. Like, that would be nice.
No, but if she
In my world.
was like that, kids would all be like, what the heck?
Yeah. Me too.
Good job. That was
Good
great.
job. All right. So, how did they get? What did they get wrong on that one?
She wants more time. No, I'm just kidding. Don't be late, first off.
So if I can ask something, just because we haven't touched on this as much, what were we really feeling? What was Amy really feeling? Or needing to feel, not feeling? If you're really listening to her.
Understanding.
Understood why she was late.
She had some personal issue, and you didn't even care about
They
it.
didn't care about it.
It was just you just labeled that as an excuse, and you said, "Well, that's not even an excuse." So you didn't even give it that much credit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, your word was stone. Bam, that's it.
Okay.
Nothing's acceptable.
we're missing something though. What else?
No.
No. Okay.
So what color do you think I was?
Red,
Red. What about her?
blue,
I think she was
White.
white. Well, blue though, people had problems going on, and she didn't want to share them. Oh, that could be white or blue. I think she was white, because blue would have snapped back at you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just willing that you consider it. Anything that you said is fine.
All right.
Willing to consider where we were coming from.
You, however, could have also been blue.
Could have been blue, that's true.
Yep.
Okay, so what was I feeling? Really?
You're angry.
Why?
She was late.
Why was that so aggravating to me as a parent?
because you feel like she doesn't respect your word. Yeah, she didn't listen.
Okay.
Listen, Larry.
I could be worried for her,
Can I
yeah?
add to it?
Yeah, of course.
She wants to feel that she can rely on.
Okay.
You guys didn't, she didn't communicate why she was gonna be late.
I feel like you did kind of do a solution in there when you said you could do much better than this with the grades.
Mhm.
So that's a part of getting it right. You did at least throw her that bone,
Okay.
you know, within it. So that would tell me that, you know, you were still at least caring. You want the best for her. You know? So,
Yeah, I'm worried for her. So we were going for what it's worth with yellow.
okay.
When she walked away and said, you know, what did you say? What's yours?
I said, why do you have to be so strict about everything?
And then
Yeah.
she stormed off.
Yeah.
Right.
You should have slammed the door.
So she actually did a good deed and wasn't feeling appreciated for anything. She brought her grades up, she did a good thing for her friend, but she wasn't being appreciated for anything that she did. So we're
Right.
going for yellow on that.
All right.
Ah.
Good job.
Okay.
Good
So
job.
now with your tools, how can we fix it?
Let her stay out as late as she wants. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Appreciate that she was doing better on her grades.
Okay, so show her appreciation.
Acknowledgement of her grades and then acknowledgement of her trying to assist someone that was in a time of need.
Okay, yeah, really acknowledge and appreciate it.
Giving the child like space to kind of make like decisions and stuff like that.
I think you could have set, some parameters, okay? If you're gonna be late, then,
Just have that
Communicate,
right now.
I need, yeah, I need this to happen, okay? If something goes on like that, I trust you that you have, it's important, and I wanna trust you to do those things, but, so I don't have to worry about where you're at, I need you to communicate with me on what's going on.
A lot of these are in our solution.
If you're
Alright,
late,
let's see,
you're
you're
gonna
gonna
be in the
We're
drive.
giving you the answers, you gotta get this right now,
Okay.
we'll see,
No pressure.
yeah.
No pressure.
What?
It started, right?
Yeah, yeah, she said.
Alright, here we go.
She just said, she just called your report card garbage, by the way. Okay? Alright, so, I got all this on video, so,
I give her her grades, it's probably.
there you go, you're responsible, yeah.
Sorry I was late, I was trying to help my friend with a personal problem, sorry.
She's glad you're okay. You're helping out a friend?
Yeah,
Please say that you're gonna be late next time. Can you text or call or something? Just, I've been really worried about you the whole time.
sorry, I was so into the conversation, I didn't think it was.
Is your friend okay?
She's doing better.
Good. Well, I'm really proud of you for being there for your friend, but just next time, please, text or call or something, just so I'm not so worried.
I'll try.
But I'm proud of you for being there for her. You're such a loving girl.
Oh. Nice job.
We're not done yet.
Jacob Ferranti Gennaro.
She's not done.
Stop whining, he's whining.
Okay.
It's not to their card card.
Oh, here's my report card.
Oh, thank you. I was wondering.
Sorry, they're not that good. Can you help me with that maybe?
I'd love to, but honey, you brought these up from Steve's last time. This is way better. I would love to help you with these. You're doing great. I'm really proud of you for bringing these up this much in this short of a time. It's really good. I'd love to help you. Whenever you want. I'm here for you all the time.
Okay, just tell me when you have a chance.
I will. Anytime. Love you, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yes, two hugs. Wow. Double hugging that. Nice job. I think
That's a standing ovation right
I
there.
can tell
That's
Melanie
great.
wrote that one so she'd get two hugs out of this deal. Smart.
He was like, "Oh, what should we do?" I'm like, "You should hug."
We chill out. Good job. All right, so hopefully you guys got tonight a little bit
That was great.
about
That was good.
using our tools in real life scenarios. Went a little bit long tonight,
down.
but we want to try to. Was I in front of that?
No, your head was getting chopped off.
Yeah. But we wanted to give you guys some scenarios where you use these tools that we're giving you to start relating them to situations in your life, okay? And for everybody that did the skits and everybody that helped out in analyzing them, good job, everybody. Everybody, let's give ourselves a hand tonight. So, I think we wrap it up there.
Yep, so your journal task before the next time, is to listen to somebody. Really listen. Anybody in your life. Could be a boss, a parent, a sibling. Listen to what they really need and try to feed that. Try to provide that. Try to really hear what they're saying and document it. Give us one time.
Okay, everybody try to come to the table next week with one example of how you use some of this, one of these scenarios, which y'all did good again this week, bringing examples of how you used it, of how you used one of the tools, of how you listened, didn't react, and you actually try to look at somebody else's color or who they are or their situation or their pain cycle and try to really just stop and have a good response. Okay, great job on that, guys. All right, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.